What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. We got a really nice 10-game slate today. Big prize pools. It's a Monday, so we also got Showdown tonight, and I'm very excited for the game. It's not going to be a 60-point shootout, I don't think. If you guys have been seeing any of these Twitter videos, the wind is definitely howling in Buffalo, but the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots, it should be a really good real-life football game. A big prize pool is up top and Showdown always, so love the content up there, but 10-game NBA slate, a lot of injury news we're going to talk about. You can't just avoid these first 7 p.m. games and wait for some of the news because there's a spot that we really want to target with injury news that we already have on the Charlotte side. So we have a bunch to dive in and talk about it today, but joined by my two guys, Mangone, Hoop. Throw it to you first, Mangone. How did you end up doing in that college football qualifier? I didn't hear about it, to be honest, but I know you were in there. Big T. I thought you said Bruce maybe. How did that go for you? How was your NFL weekend?
Yeah, not the best, but don't bring it up to Big T. Okay, I'll just tell you that now. He made a bad swap and stuff. Don't, if you get on a show with him anytime soon, don't bring it up. He won't appreciate that. He made a swap off of so the first game busted hard. It was like crazy, absolutely busted. Like the chalk as hard as you could imagine. It was so chalky. So then he went to the later one that was like similar total, like no one was on, and he got off of his other path he was on that crushed. So, but overall it was fun. It was a good sweat. Had a good NFL weekend. NBA was solid. So no complaints all around. Good weekend. And we got some Showdown tonight. We got NBA tonight, which it's a 10-gamer, which can be a little intimidating at times, but we'll obviously break it down and we'll bring those winners for the people.
Yep, absolutely. I see Hoop and Chad talking about the kids. I look at Hoop's face; he's screaming there on mute. Hey, when I was by the kids, they were two very good kids. What are they doing right now, Hoop?
Oh, it's the third day off of school. I was telling you guys that the school shooting, obviously a huge tragedy, but it's in the county that I live in, so they've canceled school for the last 3 days to redo training and stuff. And going back to school tomorrow, thank God, because I'm on the verge of losing it over here. So back to school tomorrow, which is good. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the NBA slate, big NBA slate, and obviously we have Showdown tonight, and not the best game, but and it looks like the wind's just going ballistic. So low total already. So not super exciting. Last night, not super exciting. These primetime games have been kind of duds lately after a good stretch. So I'm assuming with the flexing and all that moving forward, we'll get some better games. But tonight, real life football, yeah, pretty exciting too. The teams with the better record in football in terms of DFS single game slate, not the greatest, but we'll find winners there. But here we're going to find the NBA winners.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's the best real-life Monday night football game we've had. Spread, myself, Tyler talked about it a little on the bet side earlier. Make sure to check out the bet side. They do a very good job too. But, yeah, 41 total. My boy Josh Allen is on the slate, so you know where I'll be going. But, unfortunately, he'll be very chalky. It'll be a fun game, though. Everything will be up. The cores, Big T's whole player pool, the Showdown show. Him and Chop already did it, so that's up as well. So you make sure to check that out. First, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first month to check that out, to check out the playbook and all the core plays. And we're going to get in the Members Never Win segment, and it's been a very, very good one. We're going to start in NFL with Hoop himself. Hoop and Whistles both won $53,000 in the NFL Showdown. Congrats to you two. That was we talked about the show multiple times, but still probably the best show I've ever seen. Pretty much built the lineup for you and talked it into existence. Then we got Takedown Season, won $19,000 NFL Showdown that day. Swint, $25,000. Shaw's Demon, $33,000. Sweet Boy, $59,000. And then E. Cunningham, the big $560,000 hit, the chop for first place. And he today is in the Tournament of Champions, or he's in the head-to-head with the guy he split with for the Tournament of Champions. So, Cap, I know that's your Discord name. You were in a little bit ago. Good luck tonight. That's a big head-to-head for you. Hope you run here and get there because, hey, Big T I know is already in there, but that Tournament of Champions will be a lot of fun, big money. Good luck to you tonight in that head-to-head.
We can actually, speaking of that, I'm coming for Big T tonight. Me and Big T are in a tiebreaker, a 4-way tiebreaker for a live final football seat tonight. So me and Big T are battling head to head tonight. So I got to make sure I take him down.
Ooh, do you know, is any other to the two other people? Do they have any names?
Well, it's from that
know?
Thursday show is Whistles, and it's me, Big T, Whistles, and I think Knowlesman, another real big, good DFS player. So it'll be a battle, but we'll see.
Hey, that'll be fun. Yeah. So we got two really big Hoop, Big T, and then Cap. Three really big ones today. One for live final C, one for tournament champions. It's a big night over here at Rumpier. It's a 41 total game to settle it all out. But
hey, that's the worst part.
Somebody's got to get there. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting one, but everything will be up. We'll talk about our attack plan. Appreciate you guys all hanging out within chat. Shannon Thomas, 215 watching. Hit the like. Thank you, Shannon Thomas. Hit the like for us, please. We appreciate it. Anthony, K Fleek Burner, Junior. What's going on, Gary, Mike, Alex Hahn, Nadesify. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hit the like for us, please. We appreciate it. We got a 10-game slate, though. So I say we dive right into it because there's a lot of news in it. It's a really good one, I think. And we'll start off at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Charlotte Hornets. We have a 217 total with Philadelphia favored by 6.5. But, man, this Hornets team is very depleted. The health and safety protocols really hit this team hard. LaMelo Ball out, Terry Rozier out, Mason Plumlee out, Jalen McDaniels out. 4 pieces on a team that already now lacks a lot of depth. Obviously, LaMelo and Terry Rozier are huge parts of the team, and so is Mason Plumlee. So Ish Smith, I don't know what DraftKings is doing with their price tag. They had it right a couple games ago. Now they somehow lowered him to 3.4K. He'll be the chalkiest player on the slate. It's good chalk. You eat it, in my opinion. Kelly Ubrey, Jason Hayward, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges. Those three will take on the most usage bumps. PJ Washington is there as well. Cody Martin. You can play 4, 5 of these guys. We are waiting on some big news like Giannis, Cat, D'Angelo Russell, Jimmy Butler. We might not necessarily get some of these injury news because most of those, Jimmy Butler locks at 7:30, but Cat, Russell, Giannis lock at 8. So we might not get the news before this game locks, but I think this side is too good to avoid personally. I'm going to go over to you, Mangone. There's a lot of game theory talk about this because we are waiting on some of the injury news, but do you agree with me that we just got to jam in some of these Hornets? And how do you rank them? And you're going to run it back with anybody on the Sixers? Because Embiid should feast. Tobias Harris is questionable too. I didn't even mention that, but Tobias is also questionable. There's so much news in this game.
Yeah, definitely a lot of news in this game. So we'll start it off with Nick Richards at 3K. He will probably start. Do not play him. He's a bad play. It doesn't matter. He will just be a spot starter. If he breaks the slate, so be it. Like, you are okay fading that. It was the same situation last night. Started, played 7 minutes, spot starter. Don't worry about that. It's clear what they're going to do. They're going to go Ish Smith as their starting point guard with some Ubrey, Hayward, Bridges, mixing PJ Washington at the 5. Cody Martin going to be mixed in at like the 4, 3, and the 2. And they're going to kind of run a bit of a tight rotation there. They're also going to play a little bit of JT Thor. Again, JT Thor, do not play him, even if he's starting. He'll get a little bit of minutes, but that's really the core there. The core is Ish Smith, Ubrey, Hayward, Bridges, Washington, Martin. That's those 6 guys. And then they're going to mix around all these other options for a little bit of minutes. No one's just going to become the standout guy, which that's going to be big for these guys. Ish Smith, one of the better plays on the slate. Definitely have to like him. The route where Ish Smith isn't on the winner would be and again, it depends on how the slate shakes up. There are 10 games, but you would need some really big raw point plays at the guard spot. And you also need those value plays to get there at the forward spot. If you are considering an Ish Smith fade, I'm not saying you should, but if you decide to look into it, look at what the 2v2 could be and then see if it's worth it. I don't think it's going to be worth it, but I think he's one of the best plays on the entire slate. Kelly Ubrey, another good option you can go to. He's at 5.8, Gordon Hayward at 7K, Miles Bridges at 7.7. I think Hayward and Bridges are better fades than Washington and Ubrey. And I don't know how the game is going to play out, but you know what I do know? I do know that Kelly Ubrey is 5'8". I do know that PJ Washington is 5'7", and they are just naturally better values when it's hard to pay off that price tag at 7.7 for Miles Bridges and 7K for Gordon Hayward. Let's say the game does blow out and it gets really ugly, which it certainly could. This is the second night of a back-to-back. They play the Sixers again on Wednesday. Those guys just have more risk, in my opinion, versus the 5K guys. So I think I like PJ Washington, Ubrey as my number 2 and 3. Ish Smith is my number 1. And then from there, I'd probably say Gordon Hayward at 4 and Bridges at 5, and mainly because Miles Bridges yes, he had a decent game yesterday, but if you look at his numbers, like he shot very efficiently. And one of my issues with Miles Bridges at that price is he is a bit better when you play with like a LaMelo Ball. Ish Smith is a high usage guy that's going to soak up that usage. And if those Miles Bridges shots don't fall as much, he could run into some more issues, I think. So I have more fear with Miles Bridges compared to some of the other studs, and it's a big slate. It's easy to say, hey, let me fade an 8K guy for like a 9.5 guy that's a really good stud in a good spot. So I think that's worth talking about on this slate with the Hornets, and that's like the real overall breakdown. I didn't talk too much about Cody Martin, but I think he is someone that he saw 32 minutes the other day. He's 3.9K. Hard to ignore him at that spot. So there's a lot of good guard and forward value in this game. The value is best at guard. And then I'd say the forwards that I mentioned are pretty good. And then on the flip side, Tobias Harris, if he does sit, you can make a lot of arguments for Joel Embiid. The problem with Joel Embiid is he is center eligible, so that can hurt your construction at times. And he's 11K. So the mix of that alone could cause some issues on this slate, but I do think he's a great play. I also think that there is a chance, again, if this game does happen to blow out, you could see less minutes from a guy like Joel Embiid in this spot. Sixers are 6.5 point favorites. So I'm not saying I'm predicting a blowout or anything, but there are ways that Joel Embiid can fail. It's not just maybe the minutes don't get there as much, or maybe if they get rolling without him and there's Drummond in there and he's crushing, maybe they decide not to go to Embiid as much, but also other studs just could be better plays on this slate. So I think there's a lot more path to failure for Embiid. Yes, he can have a big game because it is the Hornets and they're absolutely terrible, but it is something to look at. And then I don't really want to play these other guards. I don't need Maxey. I don't need Seth Curry. If Embiid randomly got ruled out, sure, then maybe I would consider that, and they'd be even better plays at those prices, but they do have elevated prices because of the situations they were in the past. So I know I talked a lot about that game, but it's important. It's probably the most important game on the entire slate, and there's a lot to like, and you're going to get locked into guys early on, which, hey, let's say you want to fade this entire game. You just say, let me not play anyone from this game. You could get some random value later. And I'll tell you one thing, if you fade this game, you don't have to change anything up with your lineup. You don't have to play a 2% play or a 5%. You could fade this game, then eat all the rest of the chalk in the world. And your lineup is very, very unique on this slate.
Yeah, you got some stones on you if you're going to fade this game completely. That's for sure. Personally, I definitely can't do it, but I hear you. There's Ish Smith, Kelly Ubrey, Bridges, PJ, Cody Martin, Hayward. I think they're all very good plays. As far as Embiid, I think I like him a little more than you. Like, Nick Richards is not guarding Embiid. PJ Washington's too little. They got this Thor guy that got in a little bit. I don't know much about him, but the matchup's great. 6.5 point spread. If it stays that way and it lands on 5, 6, 7 or something like that, you expect full run. If Tobias is out, you even get a little bigger bump. But Hoop, I'm going to go to you. Rank these Charlotte guys and then talk about the 76ers side and what the Tobias news does for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a spot where you definitely do not want to fade it. Like in any lineups, no matter what sort of contest you're playing tonight, you want exposure to this. If you're full MMEing, I'd say at least 2 of these guys for sure in your lineup. And I mean, I see what Mangone's saying. This game's gonna be super popular, a ton of ownership. The hope is that this game potentially blows out and some of these guys don't get there, but even in blowout situation, like 2, 3, maybe 4 of these guys are going to crush no matter what. I mean, they're still projected.
I want to clarify. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying if you're the guy that like tries to find ways to get contrarian, all you have to do is fade that, and then you can play all the other plays, and you don't have to get crazy with your teams. I do think it's a bad idea, by the way. Like I'm MME, I think do 20 in the $4 and like the 50, and then I'm going to do 2 main teams on DK. And like, I'm going to make sure to have at least 2 of these guys in here for sure, maybe even 3. I think that's like just, but the prices are just wrong, right? Like the Ish Smith price at 3.4, it's just stupid. It's laughable at that price.
He's a lock. I mean, he's a lock. You just play him. I mean, he's gonna get there 90% of the time. I think his odds of being on the winning lineup tonight is, I mean, super, super high. I mean, I don't want to put a number out there and look silly, but I mean, it's a big number. The odds of him being on the optimal line, 3.4K is just a dumb price tag. FanDuel 4.5K still a great play. I mean,
he was 4.8 last night.
I don't understand what happened.
And now he's 3.4, and it's a revenge game, Hoop. I know the revenge game is going to really entice you even more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm always in. But in terms of I mean, all these guys are great plays. I mean, yes, the cheaper ones are better plays. Ish Smith, Kelly Ubrey, less risk. PJ Washington, same. Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges. take on a little more risk because of the price tag, but they're the ones that are going to be a little lower owned though too. So really like all these guys. Yeah, no Nick Richards, Cody Martin definitely in play at 3.9. Then if Tobias Harris is out, I'm fine going to Embiid. I mean, we're already going to be on the Hornets. We're going to be on the Hornets heavy. So if this game does stay close, which we're banking on because we're going to be heavy on the Hornets, Embiid is the perfect play. I mean, all the usage in the world if Tobias is out. Now, if Tobias is in, not much interest at 11K, like regardless. But if Tobias is out, I think Embiid's a very strong play. I mean, the spends on the slate I don't think are the greatest. Depending on the way the news kind of breaks. I mean, that could change. I mean, we do have a decent chunk of news still out there, but as it stands now, I think Embiid would be a great spend if Tobias Harris is out, not playing any of those other guys. But yeah, the cheaper guys are the more appealing on the Hornets. Ubrey, PJ Washington, Cody Martin. Then you got, Gordon Hayward and Miles Bridges, who will be lower on those other guys because of the price tag, but definitely have the upside to go off with all these guys out. So it's a premier game right out of the gate, 7:00 Eastern. I mean, a lot of this, let's see, 3 games lock at 7. So it's tough to avoid the spot. And like I said, in tournaments, I'd be playing at least 2 of these guys in every lineup.
I like that for sure. If I'm MMEing, I'm making that rule too, at least 2. The prices are just silly, and you have spend ups. We're talking a little bit about Embiid. Giannis is questionable. There's Jokic on the slate too. But when Ish is 3-4 and Martin's cheap and some of these other guys are cheap, you're going to be able to spend up on someone. Derek in chat asked, if Harris is in, would he be a good pivot off Embiid? I don't think you got to do that. Embiid's not going to be like crazy popular, so you won't gain too much leverage off. Yeah. 7-9 feels like a little overspend. And then you're locking yourself into the first game when other news and better plays can develop. So I personally wouldn't go to Tobias there. We're going to get into the next game. First, Lando, bigs against Charlotte for many years now. That too. And I mean, I talked about it a little bit, but Mason Plumlee's out. They're true big. Now they really got no bigs. So I think Embiid's going to absolutely feast. I think he's a very good spend up. If you play 4 Hornets, Embiid's definitely the guy you can run it back with. He's definitely going to go off. Before we go into the next game, we appreciate you guys all hanging out with us in chat. What's going on, Jordan? And Tony, or our guy Bogart, I'm not sure exactly what you said, but how you doing, Bogart? Torrin Edwards, what's going on? Steven, Ken Wood, what's going on? Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. Over 400 watching. We appreciate if you hit the like and the subscribe button for us, please. Good 10-game slate. Showdown later. A lot of prize pools up top. So hit the like. Start off the good mojo for us. Next game, Washington Wizards, the Indiana Pacers. A 211.5 total. The Pacers are favored by 5.5. On the Pacers side, TJ McConnell is out. He'll be out for a little while with his wrist. He got hurt. Justin Holiday is out as well. And then for Washington, Spencer Dinwiddie is resting. So it's a game that I think is interesting. Miles Turner at 5'9" has a good price tag I like. I don't mind like a Gafford or a Montrezl Harrell, who's both below 6K. 5'2" for Harrell, 4'9" for Gafford. But the center position is loaded with good spend up. So I'm not sure I'm going to get there. Karis LeVert has a better price on FanDuel at 5-1 compared to 6-1 on DraftKings. Not a game I'm going to go overboard on personally, but I think Turner would be my favorite play at 5-9. I'll go to you, Hoop. What do you see in this game?
Yeah, I mean, pretty solid breakdown. I mean, I agree with most of those points there. Without Dinwiddie, some of these guys get a boost. Like Kyle Kuzma, I think, is somewhat interesting. 6K on DK. That's not a bad price tag. Oh, Ish Smith placed in health and safety protocols.
Another one. What?
Wow, that changes things quite a bit.
So now Cody Martin's
a
stone lot.
So that changes a lot, I think, because one thing I'll mention with that is if for some reason he's not playing right, and I think if this game gets even uglier, right? Like these 3K guys, I don't know. I think it's going to cause more risk to some of those studs that you spend on. I don't know. I don't know if you agree, Hoop, because like this game could, again, with it being the second night of back-to-back, if this game does get ugly, I do think there is more risk to the Charlotte side and like kind of like the Thunder the other day. You remember that game where they got blown out by Memphis by like 70? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that's losing another ball handler and it's changing it into, I think that Boyk Knight guy is going to be the starter. And there's a big difference between him and Ish Smith. I mean, I'm not saying Ish Smith is amazing, but I mean, it's just a random guy that doesn't really control the ball. And it's just that team is getting so thin. I don't know. There is some risk to the high end guys. Cause I think with it being the second night of a back-to-back and then them playing Philly again on Wednesday, it's something to mention because I think Ish Smith is a big key to this team right now.
I mean, yeah, that bulk night guy, like I got to look more into him. So the biggest bump at first, what it does to me, I think Cody Martin is a stone lock right now at 3.9. It's like he's going to get all the run. And then even the other guys like Bridges, Ubrey at 5'8", so strong. Hayward, Bridges, like everyone gets a bump there. PJ, I'm not exactly that bulk night guy. Like I don't know exactly what to do. I definitely am a little hesitant to go on them. The news just broke too, but what that does is Cody Martin, it now just becomes a stone lock. Ubrey, all the guys just get a little bump. Maybe hurts Embiid a little bit. I don't think Ish Smith's moving a line too much, but
it's not really about him moving a line. I just think they could punt this game sooner because they have to get into. They've been doing their best to not get into these really bad players. Like they have been trying everything they can not to play them. What are they going to do? Play all their guys 40 minutes? I mean, it's just at that point, if you're going to play all these nasty players and it like starts to get really ugly, it's just easy to just unload all of them. Like, because they really haven't been, they have guys they can play, but they haven't unloaded into them for some reason. And it's because they've wanted to run some really tight rotations and try and fight and stay in these games and not give up in the games. But at some point, it's just, I think that they're going to lose too many guys. You just can't play every single guy 48 minutes. I'm curious to hear what the coach says about the situation.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to look at coaches speak. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if the line's still 7, like 7 is still relatively close. I'm not, if the line, I think somehow, if you think it's blowing out and you're about to hit Philly right now, which I don't mind, this also could mean, like, if you're the 76ers, Tobias is truly questionable. Who knows if he is or not? Like, why would you play Tobias Harris today against this Charlotte team who has nobody? So people were asking too, if Tobias is out, like Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry has a fine price tag, will get more ball handling. I don't know. This is this whole slate just flipped on its head for sure. Up to lock will definitely have you covered. Jam in Hornets is how I'm approaching it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you have to assume they're going to continue. I mean, they're 14-11 this year. They've been a crappy team for a while. They're in good position right now. They're just not going to pull the plug on all these guys and just go to some random dudes that haven't played it all this season. I mean, we have to assume
they can't even run a 7-man rotation right now. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So these guys have to play tons of minutes. Like, I mean, tons. They're not going to play these random dudes that haven't been playing this season. So you're looking at guys in a close game that are going to play 40 minutes. I mean, for sure. They won last night. I mean, they're going to want to win again tonight. I mean, they're playing to win. They're playing to win. These guys are going to play a ton of minutes. I mean, you need exposure to the Hornets. If they get blown out, guess what? That's the beauty of DFS. You move on and we make teams for tomorrow night, and the Hornets won't be on the slate. That's the allure to DFS. It's over. So I don't know. You just got to play the Hornets you got to play a ton of them. I mean, the main guys are just in such good a spot. It's impossible to not play them.
It's not like they're rolling out this squad that we saw OKC roll out a couple nights ago.
These are competent NBA players.
Yeah, like Gordon Hayward is a bucket. There's Ubrey, Bridges, PJ Washington. Like, these guys are still good basketball players. People in chat are loving Bulk Knight. I didn't watch him much in college. I guess he was a stud at UConn. So yeah, but multiple people said Bulk Knight. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing them right.
That's fine, but I mean, still though, you look at he hasn't played it all this season. I mean, he's played a total of 10 minutes all season long. Like, they're not, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, they're not going to roll this guy out like 30 minutes. I'm just going to focus. I'm focusing on the guys that I know are in this rotation.
They're closing 5 for sure, unless Bulk Knight is playing amazing. He could get the spot start, but like, you more than likely think their closing core 5 is Cody Martin, PJ Washington, Miles Bridges, Hayward, and Ubrey. And what they might start Bulk Knight with it in Ish Smith's spot. They start Nick Richards. And then the reason why they're doing that is you have to stagger it a little bit. Like, Cody Martin and PJ coming off the bench at least help, because if not, let's say you plug in Cody at the 1, right? And technically Hayward's running the point. And then you plug in PJ at the 5. Your backups coming in are Nick Richards, JT Thor, Kai Jones, James Bulk Knight. Like, they're just all random. So I honestly expect Bulk Knight to start. And at 3K, he's definitely in play, but don't be shocked if he doesn't close and they go with Cody Martin in there because of that. And those 5 are the key.
Those 5 will be closing for sure. I mean, so in the chat, Khalil BM said Brago came out and said he wanted to play Bouknight more minutes and give him as much as he can handle. Then why has he only played 10 minutes all season long? Like, I mean, that's just to me like not accurate information. If you're that high on a guy, he would have played last night. They're thin last night. Why did he play? What did he play last night? 7 or 8 minutes. He played 6 minutes last night. Like in a spot where they were like dead thin. Like they don't trust these other guys. These main guys are playing like 40 minutes in a close game.
Bouknight is the number one beneficiary to this, but you could see Cody Martin go from 32 minutes to like 40. Like you could see some of these guys get up to 38 and 40 minutes. Yeah. And honestly, what you might see tonight is they could fight tonight pretty hard. And then if like Isha's still stuck in that protocol on Wednesday, they could just punt the game completely and then go all their bums and just like even sit Miles and sit all of them, because they did kind of, I believe they won last night, right? They stole a game from Atlanta. Yeah. I mean, they're not supposed to win that game last night. So
they're playing to win, man. And these guys are going to play. I mean, it's very simple. Those 5 main guys are going to play like 40 minutes if they're in this game.
Yeah, Bouknight, that's what I mean. Like the chat obviously really likes him, a lot of these chat, and he probably is a really good basketball player. The thing is, like the minutes, there's a lot of more unknowns with Bouknight than there is with Martin, PJ, Ubrey. Like I would be shocked if somehow this game is relatively close. I would be shocked if anybody was closed the game other than those 5 that we talked about: Martin, Ubrey, Bridges, PJ, etc. So he's 3K.
One more thing to mention, Title, real quick. Couple things in the chat that I think are important. Someone said PJ will get wrecked tonight. PJ is not going to start. And the reason why is they do not want him going up against Embiid, because we've seen this before. PJ starts at the 5, 2 fouls, out the game. It messes everything up. So they bring him off the bench because of the usage that he sees there. And he also does not get into that foul trouble situation against those big lineups. And that saves him from getting early fouls where he can use them later if needed. It's definitely the approach that they have been taking all year. Also, someone said Bouknight was a stud in college, like top lottery pick. Sure, but today is December 6th, 2021. The reason Bouknight was picked was for his future, not to play.
Every dude, I mean, I don't want to be an asshole, but every dude that's in the NBA was a stud in college for the most part. Like these are the best basketball players in the world. Yeah. Like at lower levels, they were all studs. It's just a matter of what opportunity they get in the NBA. And there are absolute college studs that never get a good opportunity in the NBA. So that's not a good argument.
And again, he's 3K. You can probably play him, but there is a little more risk. Like, don't be in the Discord chat raging that he's not closing the game out, right? Like, it's just, that could happen. He is going to chuck up shots, and we talked a lot about this, but it's the most important spot on the slate. I mean, there just can't miss.
For sure. I mean, there's going to be a lot of games that we just don't even need to talk about, to be honest. I mean, it's a concentrated player pool today. To go with the Wizards thing, like Kyle Kuzma's fine as the last guy in. Harrell, that's a problem because center. I mean, I'd like Harrell. Smaller slate, I think he'd be firmly in play, but 5-2 at center, there's a lot of center plays. I don't think you have to go there. Beal gets a little boost too. And then on the Pacer side, it's just a price thing. I can't really play these guys. LeVert on FanDuel is a fine play. Miles Turner on DK is a fine play, but that's about it here for me.
Yeah. This whole situation. I mean, when the chalkiest guy on the slate gets ruled out on a team that was already short, it definitely changed. This Bouknight situation is like Brandon Boston on the Clippers. This reminds me of the same thing when Paul George rested that one day. Boston was filling it up in the G League too, and then he got run because it was a blowout that one day. It just, the game before, Ty Lue said that he wanted to get him more minutes, and I don't even know if he came off the bench. So there's more unknowns. Look, listen to the Up to Lock show. Check the cores before to see. Check the cash chart to see if he's on there. Again, we just got the news. I'm excited to see what K Fallick in chat is already saying. I'm starting at 6 Eastern regardless. Come on, K Fallick. Take a breath over there. You'll have your time to talk.
We're gonna skip like 6 of these games. There's like nothing to talk about on a lot of these games. So we'll be out of it. We'll be out of your way. Don't worry.
Yes. Come on, K Fallick. I am excited to hear what JSU, K Fallick, I think maybe DC say on the Up to Lock show, because Charlotte News, you're gonna play a bunch of them. Who you play? I think it's Cody Martin is my favorite right now, though. Yes, Mangone, we're going to get to you in this game, though. The Pacers, the Wizards, Miles Turner is my favorite play in the game, really, but center is loaded. What do you see in this game?
Yeah, I mean, we can make it pretty quick. Miles Turner, good play. He's like the one I would consider, but there is a lot of guys, a lot of usage here that I don't want to mess with too much. Miles Turner's fine, but not a priority. then Kyle Kuzma, I like the points Hoop brought up on him. And, we don't want to upset K Falik too much longer. So let's move on over to the next game there, Ty.
Yep. Before we get into the next game, 466 watching, 176 likes. That's a little hurtful. Hit the like for us, please. We can definitely do better than that. 10-game slate. Giving you winners. Hit the like for us, please. Next game, though, K Falik, I'm hoping to go at a pace that you accept. OKC, Detroit Pistons, 205 total. Detroit's favored by 3. SGA is back in the lineup. Giddey is back. Pretty healthy, both sides. Mangone, what do you see in this game?
Yeah, I mean, so we've talked a little bit about like just why play Thunder games sometimes, and like I don't know, with them a little bit healthier, like why play the Thunder on this slate? This feels like a bad idea. And Hoop is our Pistons guy, and I don't want to take up K Falik's time, so I'll leave Hoop to talk about the Pistons.
Ooh.
No thanks for me. I mean, I guess a couple guys could potentially be in play, like maybe some Jeremy Grant. He's starting to show some upside. 38 fantasy points in 3 out of his last 4 games. But 7.6K is just not a great price tag. Oh man, just pulling up some of these game logs. It's just not the greatest situation. Definitely no Thunder. I guess Jeremy Grant would maybe be the only guy in the Pistons that I consider, but you really don't have to. Isaiah Stewart's been playing well. But again, center is kind of deep. So not a ton of strong interest here.
Stewart, I like Stewart more on FanDuel. He has power forward over there, so that's where I'd play him if I did. Sadiq Bey too, if you need a last piece at small forward. But yeah, I agree. It's not a game you really want too much of. The next game, the Miami Heat, the Memphis Grizzlies, 213.5 total. Miami is favored by 4.5. And this is where we have news. Jimmy Butler is questionable. This game locks at 7:30, so I'm expecting to get it pretty close to lock. I'm expecting that we do get it. We've had some good news, or Miami's been good with news in the past. Bam Adebayo still is out too, so this game can get a little tasty, I think, especially if Jimmy Butler is ruled out. I'll go to you, Hoop. What do you see in this game, and what does this Jimmy Butler news to do for you if he is out or if he is in?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting game. First off, Jimmy Butler news kind of dictates everything. If he's in, which I think he might return tonight, I like him at 9.4K. We've seen this from him in the past and this year where he comes back from an injury and just immediately crushes. And no Adebayo tonight. So I'd really like Jimmy Butler if he's in tonight. If he's out, we're looking to the same guys. Kyle Lowry, he had a big game. I believe it was the end of last week. 45 fantasy point game, then fell off again. So really up and down performances for him. Tyler Hero, I think, obviously a great play if Jimmy Butler's out. Dwayne Dedmon finally got the price increase. He's 5K on DK, and the minutes have been kind of wonky for him too. 22 and then 24 probably would be out on him at 5K. On the Grizzlies side, Jaren Jackson's always interesting in tournaments. Tyus Jones has been playing really, really well. I mean, he's a good option. I think last guy type thing. Not really any building blocks, but I would really, if Jimmy Butler's in, I'd really like him and consider him in all 4 minutes.
Yeah. And you said Tyus Jones has been playing good basketball. Jaren Jackson's, his upside. So I don't love this Memphis side, but a last piece, Tyus or Jaren Jackson, their ownership should be pretty low too. I wouldn't hate, especially if you do play like a Jimmy Butler. If he does play. Mangone, Memphis, Miami, what does this Jimmy Butler news do for you? Anybody on the Memphis side?
Yeah, I mean, the Jimmy Butler news is pretty important, right? I mean, that can definitely change the slate a ton. I mean, if he's in, he's a great spend up option, but there are definitely guys that you want to look to play and consider that you just can't completely ignore. So we really need that news. That's very key. And there are some, you can make an argument that the Grizzlies plays could be good, but the problem is the price has gone up on some of these guys. That's one of the concerns. That's one of the issues here with this spot. So not the sexiest game. If Jimmy Butler is in, he becomes a pretty good spend up option here. But and if he's out, sure, yes, you can make arguments for some of these other options. Like Tyler Hero is a pretty good play. I think you make cases for Kyle Lowry. There's some good options here if Jimmy is out, but we kind of just need the news on that. And it also depends on like the construction of your lineup. These guys won't be absolute priorities, but they'll be really strong plays. And some of these Heat guys will be a little bit better on FanDuel, I think, rather than DraftKings because of the way the pricing and just in general how the sites are structured.
Yep, I agree. I think I like Jimmy a little more on FanDuel and DraftKings, but I definitely agree with what you're saying. Not the sexiest game, as you said. I like that man going, but I do agree with you there. We're going to get into the next game, the Atlanta Hawks, the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is the first game that locks at 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a 222.5 total. Minnesota is favored by 2.5. And we got a lot of news in this game. Karl Anthony Towns is questionable. He ended up being ruled out last game when he was questionable. And or Friday, I don't know if they played since then. I took the weekend off from NBA, but he was ruled out. And Naz Reid becomes a very good play if that's the case again. D'Angelo Russell also is questionable. I mean, if both of them are out, Anthony Edwards would be someone I really want to get in my lineups. Patrick Beverley would get a little bump. And then on the Atlanta side, they have some injuries. Cam Reddish is questionable. TLC got the spot start last time. He played 38 minutes. He's still min price at 3K. On a slate with all this Hornets news, I don't think we really need to go there, but 38 minutes, I mean, you can't ignore that at min price. Hoop, I'll go to you. Talk about this game.
Yeah, I kind of like this game quite a bit, and I hope the injuries break the right way. I mean, I hope one of Towns or Russell sit here tonight, because I really like Anthony Edwards at 8.1K. I think he would be a phenomenal play. D'Angelo Russell at 9.2K. I mean, I just can't imagine clicking that price tag. Like, no matter what the situation is with the Timberwolves, I'm not paying 9.2 for D Russ. But I really want Edwards, and I think the best way to play Edwards is if one of those two are out, Russell or Towns. And this game's at 8 Eastern, so I guess there's an outside chance we get the news before lock. And then on the Hawk side, man, I like some of the guys. I hope Cam Reddish is out again tonight, because these guys are now starting to play some big minutes. Trae Young is playing upper 30s in terms of minutes. That was not happening last season. John Collins played 34, 32, 38 minutes against the Hornets, 53 fantasy points. These guys are starting to play minutes. They're going to want to win this game. It's a close spread. TLC, yeah, if I need another full punt, absolutely. I mean, the problem with that Hornet situation is the cheapest guy that we're going to play is now out of play in Ish Smith. So we're still in the mid tier on most of those Hornets guys. We don't really have a full punt on that team. Cody Martin's 3.9K, but if you need another one, Cam Reddish is out. TLC at 3K in a match at probably the highest total on the slate. So really like this game. You know, Trae Young in tournaments, I think, is just a phenomenal play. He's starting to play a ton of minutes here. So I like him. And then with the Timberwolves, it all depends on the injury stuff. If, Russell or Towns is out, I really like Anthony Edwards. If all of them are in, probably won't be playing him.
Yep, definitely makes point. So like bulk nights 3K, TLC's 3K. Before I go to you, Mangone, Clyde Frog in chat said, James Borrego just said he thought bulk nights minutes were solid. All of the starters are going to share ball handling duties. He said that it is possible we could see more of him, but would not commit. So the last part he added in. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that necessarily, I mean, appreciate the information, Clyde. Thought bulk nights minutes were solid. Does that mean like he gave them the minutes that he thought were appropriate, or there's so much, I don't know. I hope you get a little more coach speak. That situation is definitely tough with bulk night, but bulk night TLC, Mangone, and thank you for that information, Clyde. That definitely helps because little coach speak means something. Bulk night or TLC, Mangone? Do you have like a lean there? Do you have any thoughts on bulk night yet? I'm going to look into it after the show too, because
positions matter, right?
Let's just say they don't. Let's just say
they do, but they do. Title, you're telling no. That's like saying I have a DFS lineup that looks great, but I'm $200 over.
Utility spot. Last.
Are you talking about on like positions like, I don't know, like they don't really matter. You can play whoever the hell you want with the guards, the forwards.
No, they can at times. It depends on the. It depends.
Well, most slates, in a
vacuum, Mangone.
I totally disagree on that.
You disagree? Well, I mean, 90% of slates positions end up not mattering. You can play whoever you want. There's some times where it's like the only time it matters if it's like a dead position and like no one's eligible for it, and you got to play somebody you feel uncomfortable with. More times than not, though, you can just play whoever the hell you want. These sites have done a terrible job with the position eligibility.
Completely disagree there.
All right, man, go.
That's for another podcast.
I'll throw out that question then. What do you see?
No, it's just I would probably lean bulk night because I think the upside and ceiling that he could have is really nice, and at only being 3K, it's fine. We know what TLC is. We know who TLC is playing with. He's playing with a lot of high usage guys that he's like staying in the corner with. So I think that would be the reasoning why I would lean going there. So yeah, I agree.
I think I agree to the upside. Like there's more upside and we know what TLC is. So I agree with you.
Yeah. And we kind of know what TLC is. So one thing that Hoop said that was a good point is if those other guys are out, that's going to be super important. Let's say Cat is out. I don't think Cat sits. I do think he plays, but if he doesn't sit, Naz Reid, Vanderbilt, they become really great plays. And everyone likes to talk like the Hawks are a really great team right now. This Hawks team is not good defensively. They are struggling a ton, and Naz Reid and Vanderbilt will eat them up. They'll do pretty well. I mean, they've been absolutely crushing. They did well against Brooklyn. So they're going to be really good producers that I wouldn't completely ignore. And like, Hoop, here's just a quick question for you. And this is why I kind of talked about how some of these more expensive Hornets are not necessarily my favorites. Is there is a route where Trae Young, Anthony Edwards, and Jimmy Butler all have ceiling games today and have really big games, right? Hoop, like they're in good spots. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
So if you play all three of those guys, I got 4.4K for my last spot. So like the point I'm getting at is there's a lot of really good studs on this slate that we've already talked about and we're talking about. So I do think that this Timberwolves side could be a really good side depending on how the news hits. If the news doesn't hit correctly, then this is a game that you kind of stay away from more. I love Hoop's call with Trae Young. We talked about it on the Friday show. Amazing player right now. Can't ignore him. You can't ignore Herter. Collins, another good one that you can spend on. A lot of really good plays here in this spot.
Yeah, so it's a high. You said Hawks don't really play too much defense. Highest total on the slate at 222.5. Last thing before we get into the last conversation about Bouknight, but Big T did hit me up. He said Bouknight is a stud. He's gonna crush. And then he talked about he was good in college. So for the people listening, and if you're not a member, I just gave you a little insight what Big T.
Yeah, and Big T was a good high school basketball player, and then 15 years later, Title smoked his ass. I mean, who cares if he was good in college? Like every guy in the NBA was good in college. That argument is nothing.
So here's the thing. DeRozan just got ruled out. Right?
Oh, yeah. This slate's going to be a freaking disaster.
And Tyrese Maxey got ruled out.
Maxey.
This is why Bouknight and positions matter, Title. This is a great point. He's
Mango, what are
only
you
shooting
saying?
Guard eligible, Title.
Dude, this guy's still talking about positions.
Zach LaVine to play. We have Curry to play. There's positions matter a ton. That's the point.
Hey, this has come from the guy that was saying Thielen over Jefferson. So I only can.
I never said Thielen over Jefferson. No. I never said Thielen over
Jefferson. His official argument is both. I know where he's going. He said his argument is both.
You're putting words in my mouth and trying to change it. So, K Fallick, when this show goes over, you can blame 2 minutes on Title for misrepresenting me because that's very hurtful. That's not what I said. And also, Adam Thielen smoked Jefferson that 1 week, and then you disappeared on the golf course, Title. So go away, Title.
That 1 week, that 1 week, yeah. You got me on that one. The other
both good plays.
The other 18, I might have had you though. But all right, we're gonna get into this next game. Tyrese Maxey is listed out. DeMar DeRozan's out. This slate's going to be absolutely nuts. Your laptop can't shut down at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a long night. Build NFL lineups. Wait for some news. Up to lock show will definitely be important. So RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. Hit the like button for us, please. We appreciate it. 47 watching, 212 likes. Mangone's making me laugh. AP's absolutely loving it in chat too. Funny. All right. We're going to get into the next game. Cleveland Cavaliers, Milwaukee Bucks. It's, what is it? Hold on. 213.5 total. Bucks are favored by 6.5. And Giannis is questionable. Obviously, Giannis news always is very important. It is his birthday, I will say. So any of you that are narrative, Matt, and I know Mangone, you're a narrative guy. It's Giannis's birthday. I don't know if that means he's maybe going to play. I don't know. I don't think he's too seriously injured. But it's his birthday. Do with that information as you want. We have value if you want to jam him in if he does play. If he's out, it's Drew, it's Middleton, it's Bobby. It's the same old guys. Mangone, I'll throw it to you. Talk about the game.
Yeah, the chat's a good time right now. The comments are flowing and they're very, very fun. Neil Dogg has the best comment though. Hoop, ask my wife if positions matter. That's the
there you go. Yeah. All right. Well, we're you go workbench, then a different approach.
Yeah,
different approach for sure on the bench.
Favorite comment for sure of the day so far. Good times right now. We could talk about we're on the Cavs Bucks game, which if Giannis sits, like, man, more news that could come that could be a ton of value. Like, obviously, you have to like Bobby Portis in this spot against Cleveland. They're going to need his size. You have to like Middleton. You have to like Drew. I mean, all those things are going to be important on this slate and are going to be really good options. Like, if Giannis is ruled out, do you like Chris Middleton at small forward or Miles Bridges, right? Like, I mean, there's just a lot of good opportunity here. And I'm sure we'll get that news or at least some kind of update ahead of time to be able to help make that decision. So I don't have too much else to say. I'm not going to play any Cavaliers on this slate. It's really just what happens with the Bucks news, and we'll be, updating in the Discord chat and all the content.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Miami's been really good with injury news, and the Bucks. I mean, we just saw what they pulled. Was it Friday in Toronto when Giannis was ruled out 10 minutes before? If Giannis is in, this is a full fade game. I think if Giannis is out, you can go some Bucks. Cavs easy fade. Hoop, you're shaking your head. You agree with that?
Agree, and we can go to the next one.
Agree. Go to the next one. Denver Nuggets, the Chicago Bulls, 217 total. The Bulls are favored by 3.5. Or they were before the DeMar DeRozan news. Now without DeMar DeRozan, yeah, there's Zach LaVine, there's Vooch. These guys all get a bump for sure. The prices still are up though. Like LaVine's 9.5, Vooch is 9.7. They don't become auto plays, that's for sure, in my opinion. Jokic at 12K, I think he's a raw points player. If you want to spend up him, Giannis, Embiid, like you're overspending a little bit maybe, but that's just how the slate might go now. Mangone, I'll go to you. Who gets the biggest bump with DeMar out? Because do you want to pay that much still? 9+K for LaVine and Vooch, and then talk about the Jokic side.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't ignore them. I have some fears with Vucevic. The price is pricey, and on top of that, the matchup just isn't incredible. So I think I would end up staying away from him. I might look at some of these other cheaper options. I think Zach LaVine is a okay play, but Lonzo Ball at 7.6, it feels like his upside for the price is like the best you can find. And then, yeah, it's just, man, it's a really tough spot because we just have enough value on this slate. And based on some of the stuff I look at, it's kind of difficult to get these guys into your lineup to make them priorities based on their price tags. Like Zach LaVine is 9.5. I mean, he's not just dirt cheap. Lonzo Ball 7.6, and he's at that point guard spot. Like, I don't know if I need to go him as a guard at 7.6. Like, would I rather play him? Or if Giannis is out, would I rather play Drew? I know Drew's 8.5, but man, it's a pretty good spot for Drew. And the Nuggets just isn't an amazing matchup. So, yeah, I mean, I have to see who's starting. I think that's going to be very important for this game because there could be a surprise starter that I don't expect that could become a better play.
Yep, makes sense. Hoop, going to go over to you. Talk about this game. And then Landa asks, we can't circle back too much about Tyrese Maxey, but Shake Milton, I think, gets a bump now. He asked about him on FanDuel. Seth Curry, I think, gets a little bump too. If Tobias is out, I mean, you don't want to load everyone in that first game, but man, it would be tough not to because that'd be a lot of injuries on both sides. So if you want to touch on that really quickly too.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, as it stands now, I think Shake Milton's a great play. If Tobias Harris is ruled out, he becomes an elite play and a really, really strong play, whatever word you want to use. Like he becomes a really, really good play if Tobias Harris is out. Embiid is a guy that I think people still could overlook if Tobias is out too. And I think he probably, for me, would become like the best spend on the slate. But yeah, I mean, it's a situation where we're probably going to be pretty heavy on that first game, no matter how you shake it. I mean, 50% of your lineup and maybe potentially more could be in that first game. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Great plays now. And if Tobias gets ruled out, they become amazing plays. On the Bulls side of things, it's an interesting situation where a big name like DeRozan gets ruled out, but they still have three guys, and they're like not cheap, which is crazy. Lonzo is 6.6, I believe, on FanDuel. That's probably the best price tag out of all these guys on either site. Between Lonzo, LaVine, and Vooch, one of them is probably going to have a pretty big game here, I'd assume. But you're paying the premium. So I don't know. We got to see who starts though, like Mangone said. Who gets into the starting lineup for the Bulls? This is an 8 p.m. Eastern game. I bet we probably get the news. And then if you have 12K and you want to play Jokic, go for it. He could easily be the highest scoring guy on the slate. We're going to have all the value in the world to make it work. Just comes down to roster construction.
Yep, I definitely agree. Before we get to the next game, a lot of injury news breaking. It's a crazy slate. Hit the like for us, please. Over 500 watching. 275 is the number I'm going to set. 275 shouldn't be very hard. Don't want to keep saying it. Just hit it for us, please. 275 for the plays of the day. We appreciate it. Going into the next game, we got the Phoenix Suns, the San Antonio Spurs. The Suns are favored by 7.5, 216.5 total. Devin Booker still is out. Chris Paul, I think, makes a little sense. 8.3 though, and now on a slate like this, I doubt I get to him. I think FanDuel makes a little more sense, but Ayton's the price tag that I really like on DraftKings, 7.4K. We talk about center, but you can't ignore DeAndre Ayton 7-4 without Devin Booker. He has a lot of upside. Cam Payne at 4-1. I think he makes a lot of sense. He also has a lot of upside, as we know. If you need a Jay Crowder 4-5, Sham at 4K, something like that. As far as the Spurs side, not too much interest. Jakob Poeltl 6K. I think you can always go there, but center is loaded. Hoop, I'll go to you. Talk about this game.
Yeah, it's not a super appealing game for DFS. I mean, we already have the value that we need on this slate. We don't need to like really dig deep on this Sun side anymore. Chris Paul is fine at 8-3. He's going to be like a last guy in for me. If I build my lineup and I have 8-3 left, I'd be totally fine plugging in Chris Paul and just rolling with him in this spot. DeAndre Ayton, though, like you said, he's the one that I like the most, 7-4 on DK. He's the one that's kind of got the biggest bump from a production standpoint with Booker out, just been very steady right around, 40, 45 fantasy points his last 3 games. Don't think I'll be playing anyone on the Spurs side. So it's Paul as last guy in. I think Ayton's a strong play for sure. And then I don't really think I'll be going anywhere else on the Sun side.
And go, how do you see this game?
There is some value on the Spurs side with like guys like the Vassals and Walkers, but they don't feel like the values to go to now with how the slate is shaped out. So you don't need to go there. I think DeJounte Murray in this matchup at this price, not necessary on this slate. I think I'd prefer like an Ayton, like Coop talked about. I think he's a really good option at the center position that, could get overlooked. So I think Ayton is a good call there. And then I think you can make arguments campaign at like 4-1 is a good, like cheap option that has a nice ceiling in a spot against the Spurs where the Spurs, they play pretty fast. And I think that it does make some sense that campaign could be a really low owned tournament option now at this point with the way some of the, news came out. I think he could get more overlooked now. And we know what his ceiling can be if the shots are falling. I mean, the dude played against the Warriors last game. He played, how many minutes was it? He played 25 minutes and shot 17 field goal attempts. Like, don't overlook campaign. I think he's a pretty interesting tournament option.
Yep, I agree. We're going to get into the next game. I'm just saying 40 more likes. Hoops already held them from you. Mangone's already held them from you. But I will say today I am putting my foot down and I will hold them from you because
let's go, baby. Let's go.
It's a crazy slate. It's hectic. I mean, we're going to be working all night.
I hope I'm kind of rooting against the likes at this point because I want to see if Title has the balls to tell it because you're like the nicest guy we have for sure. And I want to see if you have the balls to say, you know what? We're out. Oh, Mangone's done it. Hoop's done it. Does Title have the stones? Mangone, do you think he's got those stones to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's going to, like, if he gets like 2 away, he might do they'll get there. He won't pull it on the plug completely. I think I'll say that at least.
The plug is definitely going to be pulled. One gone. It's not going to happen. All right. This game, though, you got 2 games left. I just want to remind you guys because I definitely can do it today and will do it. Los Angeles Clippers, Portland Trailblazers. The Clippers are favored by 3, 215.5 total. Damian Lillard is out. Anthony Simons is out. Nasir Little is questionable. We're not going to really get this Little news. It shouldn't matter on a slate like this. But I think there are some pieces on Portland that make sense. Dennis Smith Jr. went absolutely bonkers on Saturday, played 36 minutes, showed upside. If you want to go CJ McCollum at 9K, I think he makes sense. And then on FanDuel, Paul George has a good price. I believe he's 8-9 on FanDuel, which is really cheap. So I think he makes sense as well. Norman Powell, 5K. I think it's an interesting game and probably goes lower owned with all this news coming. Mangone, I'll go to you. How do you see this game?
Yeah, Norman Powell at 5K is not a bad option. He's one that people have been playing and like, I don't know what makes him worse in this spot at 5K. He easily could have a 40-point ceiling. He's going to get some usage funnel his way. My problem is like Dennis Smith Jr. definitely is like, he's kind of like Ish Smith. He is willing to control the ball and run the point guard, even though he probably shouldn't, right? Like, yes, he more so got there with that garbage time. And at 5'3", I don't think you need to be playing him. But the point I'm getting is this does hurt some guys. This hurts Nurkic. This hurts Powell a little bit. It does hurt McCollum at 9K. Like, do I really want to spend 9K on McCollum with DSJ running the point? Sure, he put up 21 shots last night, but is that the best way to use my salary when there's other studs I think I prefer? That's something I'm going to be thinking about. Do I think McCollum is a good play? Yeah, but relative to some of these other options, I have some worries, right? I'd rather probably play Jimmy Butler if he ends up playing. I'd probably even rather play Chris Paul. There's just a bunch of other guys I think I'd rather go to. If you want to play McCollum, I won't say it's the worst idea, but I just think there's better plays that you can go to on this slate.
Yep, I agree. Hoop, how do you see this game?
God, I'm just upset over here. I see this weather for this Buffalo New England game, and I'm just now realizing I don't know if I'm going to be able to play my kickers.
Yeah,
Have you seen this wind?
I have. Simon and I were talking about, we were all talking about before the show. Simon says he thinks everyone's going to get off, so now he might get on it. I said, I don't have the stones to do that with what I'm seeing. But yeah, the kickers, that's going to be a big question in Showdown for sure.
Sad times. In terms of this game, Dennis Smith Jr., yeah, I mean, we saw him just kind of take over, and he's capable of doing that. He had success last game, 36 minutes. I imagine he's going to kind of do that again tonight. So I think he's a great play. McCollum kind of paying a premium at $9K now. And, that's kind of the most I want to pay for CJ McCollum. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to get there on CJ. I think I'd find a way to just get up to one of the studs on the slate over him. Norman Powell, I agree with Mangone. Like, he's a high upside guy. And if it's not Dennis Smith Jr. tonight that has a big game, I would not be shocked if it was Norman Powell. So Norman Powell, I have a lot of interest in. Robert Covington's all the way down to 3.6. What a disaster. And he hasn't cracked 20 fantasy points in like 6. Oh my gosh. Wow, man. I was going to say in play at 3.6K, but I don't know if he is. Like, what has happened? Nurkic,
Larry Nance is a better play than Covington for sure.
Yeah. So my favorites here are Smith and Powell, I guess, long story short. On the Clippers side, not a ton here for me. Maybe Serge Ibaka, but there's probably better value. Paul George is priced up to 10.6 on DK. I'd probably go elsewhere. My two favorites are just Smith Jr. and Powell.
Yep, makes sense. We're going to get in the last game. It's going to take me very short. I'm expecting you to as well, but I just updated projections. I see bulk night definitely is projecting very well. So I expect the ownership to reflect that too. Do that as you wish. And then
I need him starting though, to be honest. He scares me if he's not starting.
I'm seeing right now about 30 minutes projected. So that has to be with him starting. Yeah. And I would, if I could bet over under, I would probably bet under on those minutes.
Yeah, I'd take the under for sure.
But I mean, even 23 minutes at 3K could definitely be enough. So just wanted to throw that out there since that is a big part of the slate. And then for DeRozan, we don't know who's going to start for him. My guess though is this Dosunmu guy. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. 3.1K. He played a decent amount of minutes last game. I wouldn't be surprised if he slides in the starting lineup for him. Again, 3.1K. We definitely have a lot of cheapies on this slate that could get you some studs to overspend on. Last game, though, doesn't take me long. Jalen Suggs is out in it. That's about it. Orlando Magic or the Golden State Warriors, 15.5 spread. Warriors are favored, 218 total. Cross-off game for me. That's how I'm going to do it. Hoop.
Same.
Mangone. I don't know if I'd cross it off completely. Wendell Carter's gotten too expensive, so maybe you don't play him. Curry could always be a stud that gets there, but his price is too much, and I think I prefer the centers. The only guy I don't mind, and I think it's because I think he's blowout proof, and he can also play if he's playing very well and the game is close, he can get some work. I know the game environment doesn't fit him amazing, but Juan Toscano Anderson at 4-1, I don't hate. He's definitely been good to me too, so that's probably why I mentioned it as well. But he has gotten some more serious work, and he's been one of their he's been really good for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a little bit more increased minutes than some projection sites say, because he's just been playing so well. And if it blows out, he's just a very good producer that he will probably play during that blowout run with all those other guys. So that's maybe that's a late night slate play, right? Like a late night long guy that maybe people don't end up playing. That could be interesting, but that's really it. There's not too much else to talk about here.
And thank you, Chet. Yeah. So the Iowa Dosunmu guy, that's the Illinois dude. I did not know that was the Illinois dude. He was a stud in college too. But I mean, again, Hoop says everyone's a stud in college. I actually recognize the name, and I don't follow college as much. So hey, he'd be interested.
I'm the one sitting here saying the guy, everyone's a stud in college, and I'm the only one that doesn't watch college basketball. So take what I say with a grain of salt.
I don't watch too much either, but I do know Big Ten. Illinois was very good, so I do recognize him. Looking at the likes, 270.
That's bull. I wanted to see if I was watching too. I was watching.
If it was 274, I was definitely gonna do it too. I mean, I was putting my foot down. 275. You guys definitely just got it on the head though, so we appreciate it. could have done a little better too, but we appreciate the likes. I was ready to get us on out of here too. I see K Alex in the waiting room for this Zoom, waiting to get into. He's eager to talk about this slate. So make sure you check the
I didn't expect to be invited in yet. I was waiting to talk with y'all.
The enforcer's here to kick us off the air. He wants the airwaves.
I was gonna say, K Fallick, are you here to like just take up time and try and like yell at us, or just
I wanted to talk to y'all after y'all were doing such good time. I was looking forward to a 5-minute conversation with y'all before my show.
I told you. I mean, there's like six throwaway games. We're gonna get you caught up, so we can get you on here.
All right, K Fallick. So before we have a little time, you want a 5-minute conversation? We'll do it on the air. What are your thoughts? You haven't looked at the slate really, or what?
No, I'm waiting for Tony to look at the slate so I can talk about the slate after him. Isn't that how it works? Yeah,
well, BigT definitely has. The only thing BigT has looked out is bulk night because he did text me. But do you want to?
Hey, K Fallick, did you know that bulk night was good in college? Did you know that yet?
I did. And can we start calling him Book Night, by the way? I know his name is spelled B-O-U. But his actual name, I looked it up because I wanted to make sure I knew. It is Book Night, surprisingly.
That's easier to say.
Well, the real question though is, did you run that by JT Hayes?
I didn't. I don't need to run things by JT
it doesn't
Hayes.
count then. It doesn't
but there is literally a Google video on how to say his name. And it literally just says Book Night.
It's easier to say than what I was saying. So I'm glad you came in and said that too. Do you have thoughts on Book Night, on that whole Charlotte situation?
Yeah, I think that the first answer is that you take the safe plays, which in these type of situations, I always want to play the guys who are going to for sure get run in addition to garbage run. So those are the first guys that I always look at. And that's why I think Book Night, no matter what, is a really good play tonight. You got to figure out who the next guys are at that point. JT Thor could be in play it to an extent now because he played some minutes, but I don't know if I want to go there. So I think
don't
that there
play
are
him,
also
Fallick. I'll interrupt. Don't play him today.
There are some good spots otherwise still on this slate that we need to evaluate, and hopefully we'll have news by 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 Eastern, that we may have a little bit more clarity. I think that Chicago's cheap guys are just as good of plays now as some of these other guys that are just as cheap for Charlotte. Because I think you see DJJ and Ayo Dosunmu or whatever his name is, and a few other guys playing 30 minutes as well. But I can tell you Book Night will be for sure. I'll give you all that. He's going to be in my lineups because he's going to get the garbage run. He's going to get the regular run. Otherwise, unless somebody's starting, you're taking a chance with them both on the blowout script and on the close game script. If it's a close game, you got to have these guys. If it's a blowout, you don't want many of them. So it's hard.
Yep, definitely makes sense. Good overview. K Fallick's gonna be on the Up to Lock show too. He'll go more in depth with it, talk about it all. And then we got a little news, like we were talking about. Jimmy Butler is on track to play today, so we expected to get that news before lock, 7:30 Eastern. So the big news: Giannis, Cat, D-Russ, they lock an hour after the first games. Have a plan what you're gonna do because you can't fully avoid this Charlotte side. We're gonna get into the plays of the day, though. It's about that time. Mangone, gonna throw it to you first. The Adam Thielen play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, real quick, K Fallick, before we go into this, I just want to ask you, do positions matter in DFS, or should Hoop just lock his point guard in the utility to start the night out? Do positions matter?
I think you should talk to Pinsack about that, is what I hear. He's
the point is 90 some percent of the days that you play DFS, you can play whoever you want. Positions don't matter.
Hey, Hoop, he's putting words in your mouth. 2-minute rant now.
Yeah. See, you claim we're putting words in your mouth about your boy Thielen. You're putting my words in my mouth about the positions.
By the way, so you said 90%. I will happily look for spots over the next couple of weeks to see.
Oh no, here come the screenshots. If I want to play this guy and I can't get him,
I will DM you. I will look for spots. Might be like 8:00, and I'm like, there's news that hit him's like, well, if I didn't put this guy here, because the positions do matter. But
can I say the answer to it is the 10% of the time that it matters really worth avoiding taking 5 seconds and putting him into the right spots? The answer is yes. Please put him into the right spots.
The discussion wasn't about if you play in a point guard, that locks at 7, you don't put him in util. It was mainly
It was
You
just
can
like you could
build the lineup.
Play. Yes.
It was TLC versus Spoke Night. I said, well, the position kind of matters a little bit. I mean, it could. It depends on the spot. But let me give you my play of the day. Let me give you my play of the day where positions don't matter with him because you can play him at guard. You can play him at forward, at least unless they change the eligibility. But it's Anthony Edwards because the Atlanta Hawks are not good defensively right now. I mean, this Charlotte Hornets team, that, yes, it's not very good right now. This team put up like 120 plus last night, and it's a back-to-back, and Edwards is going to feast. He will be my play of the day.
Anthony Edwards, Mangone, Thielen's play of the day. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt like Thielen did, but hey, we're not going to get that negative juju on there. SO play of the day to me. It's a tough one, but I'm going to go with someone I think is underpriced and has a massive ceiling. DeAndre Ayton at 7.4K. Going to have all the money to spend on him. It's in the mid tier, but I really like his upside. No Devin Booker there. 7.4 is too cheap. DeAndre Ayton, SO play of the day. We're going to go to Hoop. Rich Parents play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Rich Parents play of the day. I am going to go to my guy, Norman Powell. Last game was Dennis Smith Jr. had the big game. Tonight, it's going to be Norman Powell, 40 fantasy points. Lock it in.
Yep, I like it for sure. And then someone in chat asked who starts for tomorrow. We don't know for sure. My guess it's just going to be Io. I'm not exactly sure about that. Okay, Falk, do you have any predictions on that?
I can almost guarantee that Derek Jones Jr. is going to start. It's just the question of who the fifth guy is going to be now.
Yeah.
Derek Jones.
He was already going to start.
Yeah, Derek Jones Jr. is going to take Caruso's spot per se, but I'm sure he's going to play more of DeRozan's spot. So I could see it being any one of DeSunmu. Troy Brown could get the start. I think that there's a few potential players that could get the start. They could go with Elise Johnson at power forward, but I'm not sure they want to. It's a very confusing spot, to be very honest with you.
It's hard to go Elise because he's such a high usage guy, right, Falk? And even if he does play, all that usage is going to the other guys. It just
no, I don't think that anybody is in play for Chicago of these cheap guys except for Derek Jones Jr. and Io personally. Because I think that the minute I think Lonzo, if the game stays close, Lonzo is going to play 40 to 42 minutes. Zach LaVine's going to play 40 minutes and Vucevic is going to play, what do you think, 36 to 38 at minimum? So
yeah. I think it's going to be Io.
You're going to have at least two of them on the court at all times.
Okay, Falk, before we get out of here, the charts play of the day. I know you just hopped on, but hey, the people want your charts play of the day. You got to give it to us.
I'm not ready to commit fully to it, to be very honest with you. I was very high on Gordon Hayward until this news came out because I really thought that he was going to be the low-owned guy, and now he's going to probably be chalkier.
And they said he's going to handle the ball too tonight, so he's going to be pretty popular.
A very good play.
Yeah.
Let's see.
If you don't have anyone, that's all right. You'll give it on the Up to Lock show too.
Up to Lock. Hey, if you want the charts play of the day, you got to become a member of Run Pure Sports and get to the Up to Lock show where K Falk, JSU, and I believe it's Holden, right? You guys, three.
DC's on Monday, and Big T sometimes hops on too, and whoever else wants to come climb on a board. The ship's always open.
Well, you heard it from the boss man himself. K Falk, the charts play of the day is going to have to wait for the premium show. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off to watch that. It's a crazy slate. News is going to be breaking. They're going to be going more in depth with the injury news we got throughout the slate. So RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. We appreciate you guys all hanging out in chat. It was a fun one to do. A lot of stuff, a lot of news. Again, you can't close your laptop at 7 p.m. Eastern today because things are going to be changing. NFL Showdown tonight. Good luck to Cap. Good luck to Hoop. Good luck to Big T, who's out sweating out a qualifier. That's going to do it for us, though. For Mangone, Hoop, K Falk, Simon Behind the Sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.